Ever walked into one of those carnival halls of mirrors full of dead ends, wrong turns, distortions, you get lost, and you walk there and you don't even realize where you actually are, and you look at something and go, oh, that's who I'm here with? Oh no, that's just a reflection. And we spend a lot of time going there without even realizing for real where we are and where we're headed. The fact is, I'm sorry for the analogy, but really, a lot of leaders are just living through life just like that. We are in this hall of mirrors, not realizing that a lot of things that we're doing are not really as they seem. We don't even grasp how wrong we are when we make the wrong decisions, because as we're progressing, we never come across a genuine mirror. We only see all of those distortions. We tell ourselves, this is fine, I'm good, your friends pat you in the back, but you don't get the harsh truth in front of you to help you ensure that you notice for real what's going around you and learn from it. You need someone to put a mirror in front of your face to realize it. And if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you, right? That's what we Jews like to say. If not me, then who? And right now, I'm going to help you start noticing your mistakes. I'm going to teach you how to put those mirrors in front of you so you don't get lost in a hall of mirrors, but you actually reach the end peacefully on time. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach, and consultant. I help people just like you create teams worth leading, because that's too short to lead mediocre teams. And a big part of that is learning from what we're doing, is realizing whether we're on the right track or not, is utilizing our ability as humans to internalize feedback and get better. If we don't do that, we're just wasting our time. And those fake mirrors all over the place that we see in tech are just a disaster. Why? Because we seem to have gotten used to the fact that no one actually says exactly what we're thinking. We sugarcoat everything. Your friends won't tell you that they think you're wrong. Your boss is afraid of pissing you off. Your people reporting you to you are definitely afraid of pissing you off. And you just might not realize what's happening. Or we also have this problem that our brains are just so good at lying to us. Rather than notice the cognitive dissonance and making us address it, what our brains end up doing is just helping us, they fade it. They just make our mistakes seem less sharp. So if you end up in a position where you are doing something that's entirely the opposite of what you told yourself you're going to be doing, a lot of times your brain won't say, hey, Aviv, what's going on? You said this, you're doing that, but it's going to start distorting what we thought, etc. So we feel good about ourselves. And it's good that you feel good about yourself, but don't use it as an excuse to miss out on realizing that, oh, yeah, I did make a mistake. Oh, yeah, there is something I can learn from this. So let's talk about how you can do just that. I want to start with a few recent examples that I've had where just placing that mirror in front of someone was really helpful and made them see something that they didn't see before. And each one of these examples just might create in your mind like the proper priming to notice when it's happening to you. So that's why I'm going to be sharing those examples, not just to show how I help people along the way. Example number one was with a startup that I worked with, and the founders have proclaimed about a year before, we're done raising. We're never going to be raising again. This is the type of company we want to create. We know what we're doing. We're headed that way. And right now, our path is for profitability. We will never go into that market. We'll never do that type of offering because we want to be true to ourselves, and that's it. Fast forward a year, they raise. And I talked to one of the co-founders, like, what happened to not raising, going that path, etc.? And you know what he said? He didn't say, yeah, oh, we changed our minds. He genuinely asked me, what, we said that? Really? He had no recollection. And I'm not saying necessarily that they made a wrong decision to change their mind. What I'm saying is that when you change your mind and you don't even notice that you're doing that, how will you learn from having made that mistake or from seeing things differently? Or how will you notice if you're now committing a mistake because you had something critical for you. You said, this is what's important to us. We want to create that type of company. And then you went and did the exact opposite. I don't know why. Because you had something right now that made you forget about it, because you had pressure, because you saw money on the table, whatever. But you just might be committing a mistake right now. And because you don't have that mirror in front of you telling you, hey, what's going on? This is the exact opposite of what you just said a year ago. And when you don't have this mirror in front of you, you just are likely to continue forward and not realize that, at some point you were wrong and learn from it. Another example is with the CEO that kept repeating to me, we just need 3 more months and we're going to be golden. 3 more months and the technology will just be exactly where it ought to be. Sounds good, right? Problem is, he kept saying that same thing for about 8 months straight. And eventually I'm like, hey, look, I'm all for investing 3 months and being done with it, but you've done that almost 3 times by now. So something is not working out. And because in his mind, things kept changing and there were reasons and there were excuses. And it's not he always had the image of the exact same 3 months, because they started doing something, then they started doing something else, they realized they needed to do this, then that happened. No one is deliberately not doing their job correctly, right? But what ended up happening is that because of that, he and the team just went on in this loop where in their minds they always had this excuse, we just need that a bit more time, we're going to get there. But no one put the mirror in front of them and said, hey, had you given us like a proper commitment to exactly what you're going to do, when, etc., you probably would have noticed that you've blown past the deadline so many times by now that no one even believes you anymore. So what you ought to do is take a second and do some rethinking about why are you stuck in this loop. And again, everyone in the team were fine because everyone were just plowing forward, realizing, yeah, we're changing stuff, etc. But no one had that mirror of helping them zoom out and say, hey, actually, we've been stuck in this, going in circles in this hall of mirror for more than 6 months now. Where are we headed? What do we even want to achieve? Why do we still believe that this is the right path, right? All those things connect exactly to this. And one last example is with a VP of engineering I was helping, where I noticed that every week he had a different opinion about the right solution to do something. Like 1 week, that person has to go, I don't think that's the right person to be a director in our team. And I think that not only is he not a good director, he has to leave. A week later, no, he needs to stay, but as a tech lead, but not as a manager. A week later, no, he can actually keep managing the team, he's fine. And I said, hey, man, something here is not working. Like every time we talk, I don't know how you can have so many 180s because you're out to return to the same point, but yet every time I talk to you, you have an entirely different opinion about what's going on. And again, if no one had placed that mirror in front of him, he would have just went on doing whatever, seemed correct that week. But when I did that and we did some digging, it was clear that essentially what he was doing is every time he was picking up on what he thought would be the easiest sell in front of the CEO, that's what he sort of convinced himself was the right thing to do. If he thought the CEO would like that person out, he just convinced himself we need to kick that person out. If he thought, no, we need to do this, he convinced himself that was the right thing. And I'm like, that's not what leadership is all about. And it's so easy for us to focus on other things and just, that you have this thing on your plate, you pick up a signal that maybe we need to do this or that and just continue. But not having the ability of introspection and looking at what I'm doing, what I'm deciding, and realizing that I'm committing this error of just being a pleaser in this sense, not having my own backbone. As a leader, this is a major obstacle for effective leadership, and he would not have realized it, and probably no one else around would have, because they would have just gotten the final decision, right? He was processing this for a month, and the final decision would have been either this or that, and he would have sold it to himself and everyone around, not realizing that wasn't really a decision that he made, having thought what he believed was right and all the different possibilities, but actually he was just seeing what he thought would be easiest and going along with that without realizing that he just might have been committing a mistake. All of those are examples where we are lacking those mirrors, so we just walk down the hall and don't even realize where we need to take a turn, or we have these distorted mirrors. We keep saying 3 months and the team is like, yeah, 3 months sounds good, and we don't realize, oh, we've been through this. We're stuck here. We're in Groundhog Day. Those are things that get teams to essentially grind to a halt eventually. Why? There are two major issues with it. Number one is that you yourself are stuck. You're not really learning, you're not really utilizing what you ought to be utilizing, and you're missing out on your ability to notice, oh, I thought this, but now it's like that. Let's upgrade myself. Let's learn from it. Let's do things better. But more than that, what happens is that while your brain is very good at fixing that cognitive dissonance and not making you not notice when it happens, you know whose brains aren't doing that for you? Everyone else's. So those people who are affected by this and not happy with what's happening, your employees, your peers, what they do notice is that, hey, 1 week Aviv said this week Aviv is saying that, those things are not the same. What gives? And a lot of times, while your brain is cutting you that slack, they are looking at you and they're thinking, I guess I can't trust that person too much. I guess they don't even know what they're talking about. I guess their word is not worth a lot. All of those things are going on in the minds of everyone around you who noticed it. Like, think about your peer. Like, if you're the CEO saying we need 3 more months, think about your CMO looking at you and saying, okay, they don't even know what they're doing. Maybe it's time to brush up my CV. Think about your board looking at you, saying that repeatedly and not even realizing that you're doing groundhog board review. You're coming there and saying the same stuff again and again. If you have your reasons for why someone needs to be a director or be out of the company or be just a plain manager or be a tech lead or whatever, and other senior people in your organization reporting to you, they know what sort of feedback you gave that person in the past and they see your decision now. They're like, okay, what's going on? Why is it like that? When we were just 2 weeks ago, we're talking about these plans or those plans, and now we're hearing that this person is no good. What gives? Can I even trust that person when they give me feedback? When your employees know that you proclaimed when you had that final round of financing, and you said, this is it. From now on, we're going to be profitable. This is our track. We're never going to do that. We're never going to go into that market, etc., because we're true to ourselves. And a year passes, and now you're raising more money. You're doing exactly what you said you didn't do, and you don't even remember that. But a few of your employees, I'm sure, do. And they notice it, and they're like, what's going on? Do they even know what they're doing? Can I trust them? When they now proclaim something about the roadmap, about what they believe, why should I believe that? How do I know they're not going to completely throw it away in 2 months and just move on? So maybe I need to keep thinking about that possibility, about that happening, etc. All of those things are there, and that cognitive load is slowly weighing down your team. While you're there having fun in the Hall of Mirrors, people are looking at you from the sun and like, what's going on? He seems to be very pleased with his figure. Can you see that that's a slimming mirror in front of him? And what you ought to be doing is not falling for that. You have to learn how to place those mirrors in front of you so you don't get lost. One thing you ought to understand is that your brain is amazing at picking up all of those excuses about why things are not as they seem. So you're there, you're thinking, something is tingling. Like your spidey sense is like, something here is not right. Did I say something different in the past? And your brain immediately picks up and says, no, don't worry about it. You meant something else, or you weren't paying attention, or you had something else in mind, or maybe you were confused about something. Someone didn't give you all the information. You were misunderstood. Just like that, boom, I just shot a bunch of excuses. I didn't even need to think about those, right? Those come to us so naturally. But that cannot be how you lead an organization. That's how you get lost. So because your brain is terrific at that. We need to learn how to place proper mirrors in front of us so we don't let our brains trick us and we actually notice those things. The cure is very simple, as always. You need to build good feedback loops all over the place. One is getting the external perspective. You're ensuring that someone comes up with a proper, good, unbiased mirror and places it in front of you. That's what a good coach does. But you don't have to be working with a coach to get it. You can also work with peers. You can have a mastermind group. You can go to regular meetups with people and share what you're working on. And what I love, I have about 100 people that I speak to at least once a year, and I'm checking in on them. And these are past clients, people I worked with in the past, some leaders all over the world that I just value. And because I talk to them about once a year, I come up, I have my notes, and I say, a year ago you said this, this, and that. What are you thinking about those? And I see how so many of them are taken aback. They're like, I said that? Or I thought that was that critical? Or I thought that was the right thing to do? Wow, I didn't even realize. But now we're doing this. Or now I believe that. Or we've shifted to this. And when I'm able to do that, we have this contrast. And you can do that with your peers. Find a friend that you can do that with if you don't want to be working with a coach, even though I'm pretty good at this. But you can find a friend and do it with them. Sit down regularly. So whenever they tell you something and they cut themselves slack, you're like, hey, last week you promised this. Last week you said that. Have that going on so people actually improve. Number two, if you don't have that external perspective, you can create those feedback loops internally in the organization anyway. How? By having regular retrospectives and ensuring that we're committing our thinking somewhere. My hack, I love to write. If you've watched any of my videos, I probably showed you one of my notebooks. I write a lot, and when I write on notebooks, I write in an app, and I write a lot of my decisions in an app, and that means that I regularly, it just shows it to me every month. Like a month ago you said this, a year ago you said this, and this helps me notice the dissonance that I have. Oh, I thought this was important, now I don't even remember what it was about. That really helps me put my mind in check. But if you don't love writing, that's fine. You can actually nowadays, fun, we can sprinkle some AI. That's what I've been doing with people and see the benefit. For example, you can just send the recordings of meetings, especially if you're taking online, but also if you have them together face-to-face, send the recordings of meetings to your favorite LLM and tell it, hey, extract please all the predictions or all the mindset shifts, etc. Contrast those with those that already have on file from the previous meetings that we had and tell me what am I changing my mind about. Or extract all my different predictions or different values that we said, whatever, and put those on deadlines. So I actually create reminders for things. And I do that. For example, I was talking to someone, I said, I think that decision that they made is not the right decision, and I believe that within 6 months, they're going to realize it, and then they're going to start doing this and that. And when I said that, and I noticed that prediction just for myself, right? This is not in front of anyone. I probably wouldn't be working with that company 6 months later. But just because I cared about my own instincts, I put a reminder to check back in 6 months and ask, hey, how is that going? So I can learn and I can keep improving. This is me placing those little mirrors in front of myself to ensure that when I get to that point, I'll see myself and I say, hey, looking good. And doing that can really help you learn that much faster. We're creating an atmosphere around ourselves of constant feedback, of the harsh truth. And sometimes your people will not say what they actually think because, again, work is work. But when you place the mirror in front of yourself and you say, I remember that we said this and we ended up not doing that. Do you remember why? Or what were you thinking? Did you notice it as it was happening? Why didn't you speak up? When you actually do that, you can create that sort of feedback a lot more naturally because you're talking to people and you're already giving them permission to tell you what is wrong, because you're saying, this is wrong. What do you think about it? You're not saying, is there anything wrong? So you still might miss out on things that are wrong because people will not voice it. But I find this is a hack that I've been using for years now with organizations, that when we come up and say, this is a problem. What are you thinking about it? Even though it's a problem that you're in charge of, you're already giving them permission to give you feedback. A lot more people will start speaking up, and this might actually lead them to speak up about more things. So all those connected can help ensure that all of a sudden your hall of mirrors becomes just a regular hall with some regular mirrors, and we fix the lighting so you can actually see where you're going and there are no dead ends. And as you're progressing, you see yourself as you're getting there, and you're gonna get to the end and you're gonna do something worthwhile, because life's too short to lead mediocre teams like we started with. That's it. I helped you take something with you. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I really, really appreciate any comment, any remark. I read everything. You can put it here under this video. You can reply to my email privately, which is in the video description. I value that, and I answer everyone. And second, if you're watching this during December, right now you can grab Unplug with Aviv, my special offering with a live session every month where I do a deep in-depth sort of session about something every month, and you can ask questions live. You can submit them in advance. If you join now, you get all the recordings of the past sessions. Right now, if you join in December, you're going to lock in a very special price forever, for as long as you want to keep renewing. So check it out. Link will be in the video description, and I'll see you here in the next video. Ciao.